This is Shibuya Station on the Tokyo Metro Ginza Line. The Ginza Line is a 14.2-kilometer, 8.8 miles, route connecting Shibuya and Asakusa. It is Japan's first subway, and it continues to see immense demand even as the subway network has expanded. Shibuya Station has a structure with one platform and two tracks, with points connecting the inbound and outbound tracks on the Asakusa side. Track 2 connects to a depot deep within the station on the opposite side, where trains entering and exiting the depot arrive and depart. The platform spans across Meiji-dori Avenue at a higher elevation than the JR lines, and gates are located at both ends of the platform. The Meiji-dori gate on the east side provides convenient transfers to the Tokyu Toyoko line and the Tokyo Metro Fukutoshin line. Meanwhile, the Scramble Square District gate on the west side is convenient for transfers to various JR lines, the Keio Inokashira Line, and the Tokyo Den-en-toshi line, and the gate used differs depending on the railway line. Although it is deserted now in the early morning of a holiday, it becomes crowded on weekday mornings, and the Scramble Square District gate is particularly congested due to the high number of transfer lines. Announcements to prevent passengers from staying on for the return trip are broadcast even on trains arriving at Shibuya Station. The ceiling is supported by M-shaped structural members, and because there are no pillars on the platform, it offers a sense of openness and sufficient capacity. While the station features a clean interior, the section including Shibuya Station opened in December 1938, nearly 90 years ago. This is naturally not the original structure from the opening. Rather, it was relocated to its current site 5 years ago, in 2020. On the other hand, the tracks themselves have been elevated since the time of opening.
This is the spatial relationship around Shibuya Station. The Ginza Line platform, now on the east side of the JR lines, was located above and to the west of the JR lines until it was moved in 2020. In even earlier times, the platform positions of other lines were also different. The reason why Shibuya Station on the Ginza Line became elevated is the topography of Shibuya. Shibuya has a valley-like, with the area around the current Meiji-dori Avenue and the JR lines forming the bottom of the valley, featuring steep descending slopes from both the east and west. Following the slope of the ground would have resulted in a significant gradient, and since the Shibuya River flows through the center of Shibuya, an even steeper gradient was required for a tunnel to pass beneath it. Because the depot was to be placed on the west side of the tracks running north to south, the line also had to pass under those tracks. Since the train performance of that time could not handle such steep gradients, and because crossing over the river and tracks was easier than passing under them, the alignment was designed to emerge above ground near Shibuya Station and run on an elevated track to reach the station. The former Shibuya Station was built as if enclosed within the building of the Tokyo department store Toyoko branch. Platforms were located on both sides of the inbound and outbound tracks, with one used for boarding and the other for alighting. Following the opening, the basic structure remained the same even as Shibuya Station developed. Furthermore, because it was a pre-war design, the platform width was narrow at a maximum of 6 meters, 19.7 feet each, and congestion continued to worsen as it could not keep up with the increasing number of passengers.
Akasaka Mitsuke Station on the Ginza and Marunouchi lines is another station that opened before the war. At the time of construction, the route corresponding to the Marunouchi line was planned as a branch of the Ginza line, so the platforms were built on 2 levels to allow passengers to transfer between trains going in the same direction on the same platform. However, because the Marunouchi line vehicles that began service after the war were larger than those of the Ginza line, and the original platform width could not handle the passenger volume, the tunnels were reconstructed. While other stations on the Ginza Line have undergone fundamental improvements, such upgrades were difficult at Shibuya Station because it was enclosed by the Tokyu department store. Then, in March 1996, the JR Saikyo line opened. Since there was no space to build a platform next to the Yamanote line at the time, the platform was constructed on the site of a former freight station. There was even a moving walkway connecting it to the Yamanote line platform, and it was so distant that transferring at the neighboring Ebi station was recommended. Additionally, in 1997, the Keio Inokashira Line station was moved 100 meters, 330 feet to the west. The Ginza Line depot and other areas were redeveloped into the complex facility Shibuya Mark City, which incorporated the Inokashira Line Shibuya Station.
Although the facilities were significantly improved through the series of works, there was a drawback in that transfers became inconvenient. With the platforms of each line arranged complexly, the decline in the convenience of Shibuya Station became a serious issue.
The turning point for this situation came in 2005. A total of 139 hectares, 0.54 square miles, around Shibuya Station was designated as a special urban renaissance urgent redevelopment area. The Tokyo Metro Fukutoshin line opened in 2008, and in 2013, the Toyoko line was moved underground for through service, marking the start of the reuse of the former elevated station site. In June 2018, the Keio line platform was relocated to the former site of the Toyoko line, placing it side by side with the Yamanote line. During this time, work toward the relocation of the Ginza Line Shibuya Station progressed. While the original platform was enclosed in a department store, the new platform was to be established as an independent structure and relocated over Meiji-dori Avenue. Because the platform was to be placed between the two tracks, work was first carried out to widen the spacing between the tracks at the relocation site. Since the space secured in advance was insufficient for installing the platform, the track switching and platform installation were performed together at the end. As some of these tasks could not be completed between the last train and the first train, service on the Ginza Line was suspended several times in the past. Since Shibuya Station was unavailable during the construction period, shuttle operations were conducted between Tamikei-sando and Asakusa, and between Omotesando and Aoyama Ikichome. Normal shuttle operations were conducted between Tamikei-sando and Asakusa, with trains running about every 3 minutes during the day. On the other hand, between Omotesando and Aoyama Ikichome, the interval was about 12 minutes during the day, which is quite long. The reason for the division into two operating sections was Gaian-Maya Station, located midway through the latter section. Since the parallel Hanzomon line does not have a Gaian-Maya Station, this is an exclusive station for the Ginza Line.
If the Ginza Line stops, the area becomes an isolated island, necessitating substitute transportation such as buses. To prevent this, trains were operated only between the two neighboring stations. Because the two terminal stations lacked tracks connecting the inbound and outbound lines, the two tracks were used independently. Temporary buffers were installed past the stations, and trains were operated as out-of-service deadhead trains when the direction of travel was opposite to the norm. More staff members were on board than usual, which required more effort, but for Tokyo Metro, which does not have its own bus business, this seemed easier than arranging substitute buses. It appears that LED destination displays can show stations not normally used, and displays for Omotesando and Aoyama Ichome, which are rarely seen even during schedule disruptions, were visible. The same applies to the LCD monitors inside the cars, which fully benefit from technological progress. The operating pattern was too unique to connect with other sections, resulting in the isolated segments. While it is a pity that Akasaka Mitsuke Station was isolated, it seems the decision was deemed unavoidable, since parallel lines could compensate. In January 2020, the Ginza Line Shibuya Station was relocated to its current site. The platform, which was temporary for a while, was replaced with a permanent one within a few months, and platform screen doors began operating in June 2020. Subsequently, in October 2021, the inner track platform of the JR Yamanote Line Shibuya Station was widened, and in January 2023, the outer and inner track platforms were integrated. I examined the transfer routes to each line in order.
First, I transfer to the JR lines from the Scramble Square District Gate. The new Ginza Line platform is located between the inbound and outbound tracks, and since track 1 became a dead end, the transfer route on this side exits the station on a level surface. This is a significant change from the former platform, where frequent vertical movement added to the difficulty of transferring. At the point where the floor finish changes, Shibuya Scramble Square, built on the former side of the Toyoko line, is visible briefly in the back left. The JI line dudes are on the right, allowing for an incredibly fast transfer that takes less than 1 minute between gates. Because the Yamanote and Keio line platforms were aligned through the series of improvements, passengers can quickly board each line from this gate. Next, I transfer to the Fukutoshin and Toyoko lines from the opposite side at the Meiji-dori Gate. There are stairs to the Hikarie District Gate at the end of the platform, but descending there is problematic. This long escalator allows for a direct descent to the ground level. The Hikarie District Gate is located on a mezzanine-like floor directly ahead, and the elevator in the back right stops at the platform, the ground level, and the floor in between. On the left after descending to the ground, this object stands in the shadows. This work, created in April 2000 during the era of the Taito Rapid Transit Authority, TRTA, the predecessor of Tokyo Metro, features a sun motif. It appears it was relocated here in June 2023, along with the improvements to Shibuya Station. After turning back here, the Meiji-dori gate is reached, with Meiji-dori Avenue directly in front. Before proceeding further, I also visit the Hikariya District Gate. There are only stairs next to the elevator at the end of the platform, and no escalator is provided. Since it is not directly involved in transfers, the quality of the facilities is lower. Turning right at the stairs to the mezzanine leads to the Hikariya District Gate. The number of ticket gates is significantly smaller, but staff members are present even in the early morning of a holiday. While it is a somewhat plain gate, there is a rest area with power outlets facing the atrium, and a multi-purpose toilet and diaper-changing corner are located nearby. This is a major advantage as the Scramble Square District Gate only has gender-separated toilets. I resume the transfer to the Toyoko and Fukutoshin lines after exiting the Meiji-dori Gate. Immediately exiting the gate, pillars supporting the structure spanning Meiji-dori Avenue are visible. Although the pillars are rugged, they are illuminated by floor lights to reduce any sense of coldness. Turning around upon reaching Meiji-dori Avenue reveals the large, high-impact lettering for the Ginza Line Shibuya Station on the facade. The transfer route moves to the adjacent building. Located next to the gate is Shibuya Hikariya, which opened in 2012. This was the first major building constructed through redevelopment after the area around Shibuya Station was designated as a special urban renaissance urgent redevelopment area in 2005. Furthermore, this is not the interior of the building. There is a space called the Urban Core on the Meiji-dori Avenue side of the building. Escalators are installed within it, and the goal is to facilitate smooth transfers by consolidating vertical movement here. This is an important element of the improvements around Shibuya, and other buildings also feature an urban core. I descend from the ground level to a lower floor and turn back here. After that, I switch escalators again, descending to a lower level using a total of 3 escalators. The vast atrium-like space also serves as a ventilation facility for the underground Toyoko and Fukutoshin line station. Despite being underground, a certain amount of light enters through the atrium during the day. Additionally, rain sometimes blows in, making the surfaces wet and slippery despite being underground. I arrive at the Toyoko and Fukutoshin line gates in about 4 minutes from the Ginza Line platform. Since the platform is on an even lower level, transferring between trains takes at least 5 minutes. I then transfer to the Den-en-toshi line from the Scramble Square District Gate. The beginning is the same as the transfer to the JR lines, but I turn left past the JR gates and descend to a lower floor via the escalator next to Scramble Square. A connecting deck to Hikariya is located past the bottom of the next escalator. This is a high-traffic area in Shibuya, and the number of escalators increases after turning back here. To the right, facing Meiji-dori Avenue, is the East Exit Bus Terminal. It is still under construction, and temporary fences have been erected. JR gates are located in the back, and the area appears likely to be crowded with people during rush hours. The third escalator leads from the ground level to a lower floor. Earlier, when descending to the same level from the Meiji-dori gate, I used a total of 3 escalators in succession, and the experience of descending all at once is quite powerful. The Toyoko and Fukutoshin line gates are located ahead. The route from the Meiji-dori gate that I took earlier is on the opposite side, and the 2 paths meet here. The Den-en-toshi line gate is not here. Instead, it is located further down the passage above the Toyoko and Fukutoshin line platform. Due to differences in construction periods, the gates are not at the same depth, and the path from here is an ascending slope with a moving walkway. It takes about 4.5 minutes to walk between the gates at a normal pace. Note that this transfer can be drastically shortened with a certain technique. I can transfer from the Ginza line to the Hanzomon line at the neighboring Omotesando station. Transfers between the 2 lines can be made on the same platform, and since the Hanzomon and Den-en-toshi lines offer through service via Shibuya Station,
transfer time can be significantly saved. By transferring to the Hanzomon line at Omotesando Station, transfer time to the Toyoko and Fukutoshin lines can also be saved. A transfer passage to both lines is located on the Omotesando side of the Hanzomon line platform. This was added when the Fukutoshin line opened, allowing for transfers without exiting the ticket gates. Immediately after passing under the departure information displays for the Toyoko and Fukutoshin lines, there are stairs leading to the platform. The transfer takes about 1.5 minutes, and since it is not necessary to go outdoors, it is comfortable even in winter. The final transfer is to the Keio Inokashira Line. I exit the Scramble Square District Gate and proceed with the JR line gates on my left. I notice a change here. This was the state before the transfer route changed. At that time, a passage was located close to the Ginza Line tracks, repurposing parts of the Ginza Line platform from before the 2020 relocation. Structural members from the edge of the platform are used as they were. Traces of filled-in tactile paving remain, and red and white zebra markings for fall prevention can be seen still in place.
Around here, the connecting passage veers to the left, moving away from the site of the former platform. Immediately after the relocation of the Ginza Line platform, the former platform was repurposed even further back, but the scope of this reuse decreased as the relocation of the connecting passage progressed. People often get backed up at these stairs, frequently causing congestion. Then, with the closure of the former JR Central Gate that once stood on the left side of this passage, and the prospect of utilizing the site, a new connecting passage was created and the route was switched in December 2024. The new passage is also temporary, and its width has not changed significantly. Since it is one of the main routes crossing the boulevard on the west side of the JR lines, it becomes crowded during the morning rush, with passengers transferring from the Inokashira Line to the Ginza Line. Especially on the stairs where congestion easily occurs, the middle is designated as a courtesy zone, and signs to prevent collisions are posted everywhere. This is the situation in the morning. Transferring is a struggle. From the bottom of the stairs, the route is the same as the previous one. The wide passage ahead is also a temporary structure. About 3 months after the relocation of the Ginza Line platform, in March 2020, the Tokyo department store Toyoko branch closed, and demolition of the building began. This passage was constructed to bypass the building under demolition, and serves to connect the station with the redevelopment building on the west side. I loop around to the south, go up the stairs, and proceed to the left. Exactly here, I pass under the tracks connecting the Ginza Line station and the depot. This is Shibuya Mark City, which was built in conjunction with the relocation of the Inokashira Line station and other works. The Scramble Crossing can be seen in its entirety from the window at the end of the hall, which is bustling during the day with foreigners taking photos. Temporary fences stand on the right side that once connected to the Tokyo department store, and it is not possible to proceed further. The transfer route from the Den-en-toshi and Hanzomon line platforms joins from the right, and after walking a bit further, the Inokashira Line gates appear. It takes a little less than 4 minutes from gate to gate. Following the relocation of the Ginza Line platform and the demolition of the department store, further construction is progressing. The viaduct that was enclosed in the department store has aged since its construction, and there were issues such as seismic resistance. While the station before the move had 2 tracks, only 1 track is needed to connect the station and the depot, so the viaduct is being reconstructed using space created by the demolition of the platforms and the reduction of tracks. I can clearly see the state of that work from the connecting passage through which I was walking. The viaduct is now supported by newly constructed steel frames, and no trace remains of the original structure. The portion supporting the tracks is held by separate girders, and it appears designed so that the position can be changed by sliding it left or right. Additionally, this area also serves as a staff passage connecting to the depot past Shibuya Station, and since it lacks a roof, it seems difficult to navigate on rainy days. When viewed from the side of the road, a part of the original viaduct can be seen remaining without being demolished. A few finishing tiles are visible, perhaps indicating it was once part of the department store. Note that, strictly speaking, the Ginza Line platform is not yet complete. A pedestrian deck connecting east and west is planned to be built above this, and partial preparations have been made on top of those M-shaped structural members. The Ginza Line tracks form a gentle ascending incline from the Asakasa side to cross over the JR Line platforms. On the other hand, since the gradient of the pedestrian deck is different, there is a subtle difference where the M-shaped structural members covering the platform are taller on the Asakasa side, while being lower on the opposite side. Shibuya Station on the Ginza Line continues to change even after its platform was relocated.